It says that it has become a household drug for many Kenyans, but they take it in a manner of pains, headache, toothache, relieving fevers in children symptoms. But paracetamol is also used to relieve hangovers by alcohol consumers. It is considered cheap, safe, and effective. But now researchers are not fully clear on how paracetamol works to relieve pains. Now, in brief, the risks associated with the regular use of paracetamol. This is the drug that is commonly used for pain relieving. Include a fever, a malaise associated with flu. Alcohol drinkers also use it, as I had mentioned earlier. Scientists have warned that heavy use of alcohol and regular use of paracetamol in management of alcohol-induced hangover can increase the risk of liver and kidney diseases. And this is according to a long-term study in the US. Prolonged use of paracetamol increases the risk of heart attacks. Now, this is a story worth reading that is on page 10 of the Daily Nation.
And maybe away from the health, from the news making headlines in the health, we have the standard counties, that is the news making headlines in our counties this morning. We have storm at Siaya Referral Hospital after 49 patients died in a month. Now, human rights activists petition MCAs to probe the health facility over the death, and the hospital superintendent accused of detaining patients in unlawfully over medical bills. Now, Siaya County Referral Hospital is in the eye of a storm after 49 patients in that case were reported to have died at the facility within 1 month. And the County Assembly's Health Committee is investigating the deaths that happened in November last year, that is within a month, 49 people within a month. And maybe if I can just quote this, we have Dr. Leach attributed the increased deaths at the hospital to COVID-19. He also said that some of the patients who died at his facility had been referred from sub-county hospital. And this is what exactly he said, if I can just quote, we also have many cases of self-referral that are coming to the hospital. We have also been receiving those with terminal conditions. Some of the patients come here when they are critically ill and they later die, sometimes even before we attend to them. Now, the hospital bill in terms of Kenyan shillings is 3,100. That is the hospital accused of refusing to give a referral. That is another case to a 10-year-old child due to a bill of 3,100. And this child unfortunately later died. All these stories is in the front page under the Standard Counties. That is the page 21 in the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, that is quite a sad story. And now, still on matters health, we have a story on the county news that is in Nyandarua County, where key health legislations are stuck at the county assembly. The county assembly has failed to pass important health bills and policy papers critical to service delivery as the documents gather dust in the chambers. Now, the County Health Services Bill and Policy on locum engagement of staff in the health department, for example, was submitted to the health committee more than 2 years ago. And now they are still stuck there and they have not made a move. Now, the health service bill sought to establish health management committees in all health centers and categorize health facilities for efficient management and service delivery, establish a health directorate to be responsible for developing policies for control of health risks. And this is a story on page 22 of the county news on the Daily Nation.
And maybe we can just shift our gears to Meru County. A woman MP is sure of victory against Keraito with CS Monya out of the race for governor. Now, with Monya out, women representative exudes confidence as she faces Keraito. And Keraito dispelled rumors that there were negotiations between his camp and Monya's.
Yes.
Now, a big battle for the Meru gubernatorial seat was in the offing until agriculture, that is cabinet secretary Peter Munya exited the race last week. And although Munya's exit could have handed Governor Kerito Murungi some peace, the woman representative, that is Kawera Mwangaza, could muddy the waters for the county boards. And Munya and Keraito enjoy significant support. Now, If we can have a look from now the 22 aspirants, we have Kawira Mwangaza, Peter Munya, and Winfred Kaburu. That is, Winfred Kaburu actually vied in 2017, and from the 2017 contest, we can have how many voters each person had, like Kiraito Murungi from Jubilee, who had 280,795 votes.
Yes.
That was the leading by then. And now because actually it remains in between him and the woman representative, Kawira Mwangaza.
Yes, and now still on Meru County, but a little bit different. We have a story that says we spent 1 billion on Mira. Cabinet Secretary insists amid funds row. Now the government had spent more than 1.1 billion Kenya shillings on Mira. That is cut the Mira crop since 2016, when President Kenyatta directed that a kitty be created to cushion farmers from the effects of losing the European market. And that is what the report shows. And now the report from Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya is in response to concerns raised in a public petition presented to the National Assembly by Igembe South MP John Paul Mwirigi. Now, among the issues raised, Ngonjo,
Yes.
that are 60 million Kenya shillings was allocated for Amira Research Institute in 2019-2020 was diverted. The government has failed to find Mira markets, and 1 billion shillings set aside in 2016 has never been realized due to vote head allocation. Now, Mr. Murigi goes on to say that the money was allocated under food security and crop diversification until 2019, when a vote line called the Mira Revitalization Program was created. Now, just to have a quote here by Nyamita Chairman Kimathi Munjuri, he said that the president was clear that Mira should be allocated 1 billion shillings every year, yet the money was mixed up with other crops. And that is a story on page 21 of the county news on the Daily Nation.
And maybe if we can tune our guest to Kericho, we have Kericho's Uhuru Gardens reopens to public after shelling 16 million renovation. Now, this park actually has been closed for the last 2 years, and but now it's open for the public to go for recreation. And maybe if, for clarity, the amount of money that has been used to renovate this garden,
Yes.
it is 16 million. That is the amount of money the county has spent to renovate the Uhuru Gardens for the 2 years it was closed to public. And speaking during the reopening ceremony, the governor pointed out that around the perimeter wall from the outside, Cabro paving blocks were laid down and an elaborate parking lot created for motorists. Those are some of the renovations made on the park. But now the park has been opened for the to the public for recreation, and this county has also some pending 500 million for development of the local market and other facilities in the area. This story is in the page 26 under the Standard Counties in the Standard newspaper this morning.
And now it's time we take that flight to look at some of the stories making headlines in the international realm, now being 8 minutes to the top of the hour. And now we go straight to African penguins that are showing love in San Francisco. Now we have a photo here on the Daily Nation that is on page 23 of the Daily Nation, where an African penguin gives another of its kind a Valentine's Day card during a special feeding at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco on Monday. The birds received a heart-shaped cards with handwritten messages from the visitors. In as much as they cannot read, they still received love, and they are spreading love all the way from Africa to San Francisco.
Wow, that's interesting and
Yes.
very awesome. And
Yes.
maybe the photo itself, it's actually eye-catching, very smart indeed. It's only that it's so unfortunate for to our viewers because they can't see the photo, but such a nice one.
Yes.
And maybe still on the Standard World, we have Ethiopia lifts state of emergency early, citing coming Tigray war. Now, measure was imposed in early November as Tigray forces fighting Ethiopian and allied forces moved closer to the capital, and thousands of mainly ethnic Tigrayans were detained under the state of emergency. Now, there is 690,000, that is the number of children under 5 years the number of children under 5 years, that is, of age who are vaccinated against measles in Tigray, and thousands of mainly ethnic Tigrays were detained under the state of emergency, according to witnesses, lawyers, and human rights groups, and many were released after December's shift of the war. And with me here, I have an image of villagers who are returning from a market to a town in south central Tigray, walking past because of band of vehicles in Ethiopia on July 10th, 2021. And now it's very, very much evident that the committee is believing that the country's security threats can now be dealt with by regular law enforcement mechanisms. This story is in the page 30 in the Standard newspaper.
Okay, now moving on to page 28 of the Daily Nation, we have a story about plastic chemical pollution beyond planet's safe limit. And we have a photo here of workers collecting plastics and other trash in Panama City. This is in September 2019, and scientists say that the planet could soon be overwhelmed by plastic. Now, the torrent of man-made chemical and plastic waste has massively exceeded limits, say for humanity or the planet, and production caps are needed urgently. Scientists have conducted for the first time, and they have estimated that 350,000 manufactured chemicals on the market, with large volumes of them ending up in the environment. And the impacts that are starting to be seen are large enough and could affect crucial functioning of the planet and the systems of the planet. Now, the study by the Stockholm Resilience Center comes ahead of a UN meeting in Nairobi at the end of the month on tackling plastic pollution from source to sea. Now, UN Environment Program Head has said that the chemicals and plastics are affecting biodiversity, piling additional stress on already stressed ecosystems. And this is a story, a very interesting story on page 28 of the Daily Nation.
And on the Standard newspaper this morning, we have 6 months of Taliban Afghans now safer, poorer, less hopeful. Now, girls in grades 1 to 6 actually have been going to school, but those in the higher grades are still locked out in most parts of the country. And the Taliban have cracked down on women's protests and harassed journalists. Now, yesterday marked 6 months since the Afghan capital of Kabul was ceded to the Taliban with the sudden and secret departure of the country's US-backed president. And the takeover of Kabul had been preceded by a months-long Taliban military campaign to take control of provincial areas, many of which fell with hardly a fight. And this story is in the page 32 of the Standard newspaper, with the Taliban who have cracked down on women's protests and harassed journalists in some cases, including briefly detaining 2 foreign journalists working with the UN Refugee Agency last week. And Christine, quickly, if I can just quote this on Monday, that is on Monday this week, the detention of some young men selling heart-shaped flowers in recognition of Valentine's Day was a stark reminder that the new all-male religion-driven administration had no tolerance for Western ideas of romance. And this story is in the page 32 of this under World News in the Standard newspaper.
Okay, and now coming back to Kenya and looking at some of the stories making headlines in our business world this morning, we have Treasury chokes cartels with e-payment system. Now, the new system has shifted the management of purchase orders and invoices online in a bid to make processing of payments to suppliers more efficient and transparent. Emails and text messages will be sent to suppliers at various stages of the payment process after delivery of goods and services to purchasing state entity is confirmed. Now, the enhanced mode disrupts cabals that have thrived on delayed pay to seek bribes. I think this is good news for most of the businessmen in Kenya.
Sure.
Yes, and this story is on page 29 of the Daily Nation.
And on the standard business this morning, we have the state-owned oil marketer, 6 shillings 3 billion capital to stay afloat. Now, NOC chief executive for the National Assembly Committee that the bulk of the money would be used in retiring the loans owned to KCB and Stanbic banks. And he wants the most painful thing to do will be to close down the company if funding stalls. And the National Oil Corporation of Kenya, that is NOC, N-O-C-K,
Yes.
faces closure if the government does not inject new funding. And the state-owned oil marketer said it is suffocating under the weight of two loans totaling shillings 6.63 billion owned to Kenya Commercial Bank, that is the KCB, 4.83 billion, that is the money this marketer is owing KCB Bank, and it also owes Stanbic Bank shillings 1.8 billion on that case. And this story is very much well broken down in the page 27 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, and now still on page 29 of the Daily Nation, we have a headline, have extra 5 shillings, here is where to invest. Now, Nabo Capital, a subsidiary of Centum Investment, has partnered with Moneto Ventures Limited to launch a new digital platform for where Kenyans can invest as little as 5 Kenya shillings through their mobile phones. Now, the application dubbed Chums, it's called Chums, or Chums. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yes, and it enables anyone, Chums,
Yes.
because Ngonjo has refused to tell me how to pronounce
The pronunciation.
Yes.
I'm just assuming Chams
it. Chums.
because it can't be Chums.
Now, Chums enables anyone with a mobile money account to create financial goals as an individual or as a group and invest their money towards the same track progress and earn interest. Now, through Chums, Kenyans will be enabled to achieve aspirations including education, travel, home ownership, and so on. And they say that the partnership is grounded on one desire, and that is to democratize investment by giving people access to opportunities and with competitive returns. And this is according to Nabo Capital Managing Director, Mr. Pius Moshiri. And now this story is on page 29 of the Daily Nation. If you would like to invest with Chums, just read that story and you will know how to invest your extra 5 shillings.
Sure. And we have Treasury slashes Nairobi Expressway funding by 70 million. Now, allocation of the expressway has been reduced to 180 million because the government had allocated 250 million for the 27-kilometer highway that runs from James Gishuru Road, that is Nairobi, to Mlolongo in Machakos County. Now, the Treasury has slashed or reduced the budget by 70 million from 250 million to 180 million.
Wow.
And however, in the latest changes, the allocation for the expressway has been reduced to 180 million, a big chunk of the money which has been expected to come from taxes and fees collected by the State Department for Infrastructure, including the road maintenance envy. And this story is also accompanied by financing model that says besides the 70 billion construction cost, it's also expected to gobble up shillings 25 billion to operate and maintain over this 27 years. And this story is in the page 28 of the Standard newspaper this morning with a very well broken down content table and structure containing the amount that the China Road and Bridge Corporation is expected to gobble up to operate and maintain the expressway of the 27 years. That one way it's 25 billion. And 2 billion is the amount that the Chinese firm expects to collect from road tolls in the first year of operation.
Yes.
2 billion. And maybe lastly, 10 billion, sorry for clarity, 10 billion is the amount that the Chinese firm expect to collect from road tolls by 2043 when the contract ends. Now, the contract ends 2043. That is approximately 23 years from now, or 27 years from 21 years. 21 years. Right?
Yes.
That is when the contract ends, and the Chinese firm that is on that case is expected to collect 10 billion by the end of the contract. And this story is in the page 28 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, and now getting sporty right here on Morning Informant, it is glory at last, and that is Los Angeles Rams back in the first Super Bowl title. Los Angeles Rams basked in their Super Bowl victory on Monday after their expensively assembled roster powered to victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Sunday's victory represented a spectacular jackpot for the Rams management, who recruited heavily over the past year with the goal of being able to bring in an NFL title back to Los Angeles at their own Sophie Stadium. Now, this story is on page 37 of the Daily Nation.
And on the last page of the Standard newspaper this morning, under the Standard Sports, we have Chaga extends lead to 7 minutes in classic rally action. Now, as you all know, the classic rally is still continuing from yesterday after a break on the Valentine's Day. And another Kenyan, that is Ian Duncan, closes in on East African Safari Classic leader. And defending champion Chris Rosenberger drops to 10th. American sensation Ken Blocks lapped with a 2-hour penalty. Now, from the yesterday's selected results, we have number 1 being the Baldev Chaga, that is with his Porsche 911, who took 11 hours, 19 minutes, 5 seconds and 4 milliseconds with his co-driver, that is Drew Starrock. And the number 10 was Chris Rosenberger with the same car, that is Porsche 911, who took 12 hours, 4 minutes, 48 seconds and 1 millisecond with his co-driver, that is Nicola Blager.
And now, just to add on to that story about the East African Safari Classic Rally, we have the top 20 positions, right? But now, ranging from number 1, that is Baldev Chaga, just as Ngonjo has mentioned, and we have at number 20 Carl Tundo and Tim Jesop, who were driving the Triumph TR7, even though they succumbed to some of they had to deal they had to deal with some of the mechanical problems, but they got back en route. And that story, you can have the details and see the positions from number 1 to number 20, and that is on page 36 of the Daily Nation.
And maybe for clarity, we have Kailesh Chauhan of Kenya as well, and his navigator, that is Tariq Malik, while driving a Ford Escort RS, rolled in stage 14. But now, because in this such kind of rallies, we always have emergency choppers.
Yes.
It was actually dispatched to the scene where the duo was examined, and medics confirmed that they were out of danger. And this story is in the last page of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, and now just looking at maybe the last story on sports this morning, we have the last 16th stage, and that is aristocrats of European club football competition seek to restore old order. Now, Liverpool lie in wait for Inter Milan tonight, and Bayern are going to face Salzburg. Salzburg this night. And we have a story of the UEFA Champions League. We have a table, the last 16, the first leg up to Feb 16th, and that story is on page 39 of the Daily Nation. Page 39 of the Daily Nation.
And maybe if Christine, I can add something from that now, from whatever you've said.
Yes.
It's for the first time in a decade, Inter Milan will be competing in the knockout rounds for the Champions League.
Wow.
And while hopes are high of progressing to the latter stages of the competition, they will have a difficult task in overcoming one of the tournament of that is favorites Liverpool over 2 legs. And Inter head in today's contest after failing to win their last 2 Series A matches, losing 2-1 to city rivals AC Milan and drawing 1-1 with Napoli last weekend.
Wow, and now on that note, we have come to the end of our dailies this morning. Now we're going to go on a very short break, but when we come back, we're going to start our topic of discussion, today being Wednesday, and this is Relationship Wednesday, hashtag Relationship Wednesday. Yes, now you can keep the conversation going. Ask your comments, send in your comments, ask your questions, and anything you would like us to deal with right here on relationships. And that is on SITG, that is on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
And as usual, our SMS line remains as displayed in your screen. That is 0706083050.
Please do not go anywhere. We will be back after the short break.
Ujambo mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu katika kipindi cha Jasho Langu. Tunaingia huku ndani tunajua biashara zile ndogo ndogo ni gani na zinaendelea vipi. Zidi kutazama, hapo ndio utakuwa unapata hiki kipindi cha Jasho Langu. Ujambo mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu katika kipindi cha Jasho Langu. Tunaingia huku ndani tunajua biashara zile ndogo ndogo ni gani na zinaendelea vipi. Zidi kutazama, hapo ndio utakuwa unapata hiki kipindi cha Jasho Langu.
Welcome to Legally Right. I'm your host, Purity Nabukaki.
And once you get the copy of title document, you go to the lawyer who will tell you. The title normally has certain securities that can tell you, is this real from the face of it, or is this a fake?
Grace Life Church invites you to our Sunday services. Join us for fellowship, prayers, uplifting praise and worship, and life-transforming sermons. The order of our services is intercession from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., ambassador service from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and celebration service from 10:15 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come and experience overflowing blessings with Pastor Dr. George Paul as we declare divine breakthrough for 2022. We are located in Kitengela town, off Nairobi Namanga Highway, along Prison Road, 300 meters from Ruby's petrol station. Welcome to Grace Life Church, the house of destiny.
Grace is offering you prime and affordable plots in Nanyuki, Equator Gardens Phase 2 for only 240,000. Longonot Crescent touching Maimahio Naivasha Road for only 900,000 shillings. Sagana Greens Phase 3, 500 meters off Nyeri Highway for only 650,000. Malindi Beach Life City Phase 1 for only 1.5 million shillings. For more information, visit us at our offices in Kitengela Town, Pena Towers, first floor, or call 0721 737 300 or 0716 007 075. Finca Properties, prime and affordable.
Sheria haijui mkubwa na mdogo. Lakini mpaka utulie mbinu tuwezeka kutufanya nchi ya China ndani ya miaka 30 imetoa watu milioni 300,000.
yangu na namkushukuru kwa sababu kazi ndio hapo.
Sheria haijui mkubwa na mdogo.
Lakini mtulie mbinu kuwezesha kufanya hayo. Nchi ya China ndani ya miaka 30 imetoa watu milioni 300,000.
Africa is in the forefront of being a silicon savannah. With me, Christine Mutindi, stay tuned.
Welcome to Legally Right. I'm your host, Purity Nabukaki.
And once you get the copy of title document, you go to the lawyer who will tell you. The title normally has certain securities that can tell you, is this real from the face of it, or is this a fake?
Live in a beach life city, enjoying coastal lifestyle with a cool breeze and ocean tides as you watch the sunset. In Malindi, touching the Kilifi Watamu bypass, sitting just 100 meters off the white sandy beach in a gated and controlled development next to Malaika Beach Hotel. Finca Properties Limited offers you a 50 by 100 plot for only 1.5 million shillings. Electricity and water is available on site. This property is ideal for residential homes, cottages, holiday homes and hotels. For inquiries, bookings and reservations, SMS the word plot to 40309 or call us on 0721 737 300 or visit our website at www.fincar.co.ke. Come to our offices in Kitengela Town, Pena Towers, Suite B6. Title deeds are ready. Finca Properties Limited, prime and affordable.
Welcome back to Morning Informant right here on SITG TV. Now it has gotten to the time where we get to discuss Relationship Wednesday. And of course I have the advocate here.
Sure.
But apart from the advocate, I am really impressed and I am happy that we have a guest and a relationship expert in our studios this morning, and we're going to get to understand about modern relationships.
Sure.
We have the traditional ones and the modern ones. Now we get to understand the modern relationship. Remember, you can keep the conversation going on all our social media platforms at SITG TV, that is on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
And you can as well join in this conversation by making a call to our platform number as displayed on your screen. That is 0706-083-050. And it will be such a privilege and honor to receive your call on the same line as we keep this conversation flowing. Now, what do we mean when we say modern relationship? We mean the relationships in the 21st century. Exactly.
Yes.
How relationships are taking us and what kind of relationships we are having right now. We as the 20th century men, 21st century men and women that are around, and someone just said it like they're no longer men with us, it's slave queens and slaves.
And of course,
no offense on that exactly, because reality must be told.
Of course. At the end of the day, the truth is bitter, but it is important that we learn the truth. And on our own, we cannot understand that. We need an expert to help us understand. But before we do that, I want Ngonjo to just maybe tell me if he attended the men's conference from 12 to 15. Maybe give me the tips that you learned, unless he's hiding what he learned. But before I do that, maybe we give the airtime to our guest this morning and our expert to please introduce herself once again and tell us what a relationship is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you for having me again. My name is Reverend Mary. I am here yet again. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. Relationship is about connection. Relationship is about being there for one another. That connection, that coming together of two individuals with a purpose in life.
Wow. Two individuals with a purpose in life.
So it means if they don't have a purpose, it doesn't add up to a relationship?
There are different kinds of relationships. Let me go back to that. And I didn't want to go back to what we said last week. There's vertical relationship between God and man. There's the one between man and man. There's family relationship. But here I know, because I have the chairman of the men conference. I know we are talking about man, woman, boy, girl relationship. And yes, it's what is it that they have for each other.
Wow, a boy-girl relationship.
Exactly.
So at what point, Daktari, does the relationship start? At what stage? And the stage that it is starting, is it at the high level, or how does it start? The boy-girl, that is, let's call it a romantic relationship.
Exactly.
Yes.
You can just take an angle.
Yes.
No, okay, fine. Man is created a relationship being. That is why when God looked at him, says it's not good for him to stay alone. So you realize that an environment that where a man is alone, but there's something I learned. You learn every day.
Yes.
The greatest gift a man gave, God gave to man, the first, the most important gift was singleness. Just being single. Adam was okay on his own. So he was complete on his own, just the way he was. And then now God says you have to have this. So where does it start? It starts when you start feeling the need of having another person in your life. That is how it starts. So, because we cannot say age, because some people mature early.
Yes.
Others mature very late. So that time when one is ready to go to the next level, then that is when it starts. Of course, I'm not talking about young children, because they are disqualified in this conversation.
Yes.
But when one feels ready to get married, because for me, every relationship must have a goal. What is the end result of this relationship?
Yes.
And that's the challenge I have in the 21st century. It is just anything goes.
What goes, goes. And as they say it in Swahili, kaende,
Kaende.
You just meet in the supermarket and
Yes.
you're married the next day.
On Facebook, on Twitter, and you have. That's very strange, but it's the 21st century relationship. What do we say?
Exactly. That's what people are doing. They're just using the shortcuts. You're just buying people like gifts. Just meet on Facebook, and I know that I have a girlfriend. The next day, I have a baby mama, and the next day I don't know what.
Yes, I have to now move from this person. I want to look for the next person to be in a relationship with.
Exactly.
And Dr. Mary, as you have said, the 21st century relationship is not goal-oriented. So that means that people just meet and they want to start a relationship now, as opposed to a long time ago. Like maybe the pre-90s, that is the 80s, it was a bit different because there were no phones.
Exactly.
No phones, and you have to go literally look for someone. So what is the big difference? What has changed? Because not even in romantic relationships, in as much as we're looking at that today, even the parent and the child relationship has changed with the 21st century. So what is the biggest challenge or the biggest influence in the 21st century romantic relationships?
Technology. Technology.
Straight ahead, technology.
We are not even beating about the bush. When previously, before this X generation, before these people, you were to meet somebody face to face, and you invested in that meeting. You invested in meeting that person, falling in love with them. Loving them, enjoying their company and everything. Today, there's nothing like that. You just see a photo on Facebook and she looks nice. I want her, and that's it. Technology for me is a crazy thing when it comes to relationships. And again, people would meet and work out their issues privately. But these days, we are not talking. The whole world knows we are not talking. So somebody else there previously relationships were sacred. They were held with high esteem. But this generation, wow.
And Dr. I think with the little knowledge that I may be having, it means that now it takes time for a person to love someone. Exactly, we can meet for the first time, but it's like a journey, or the way there are different stages in a relationship. And what exactly might be wrong with this generation, because you're meeting for the first time and just fall in love with that person. And here you are.
Actually, I'm thinking it's about immorality. The generation we have is so immoral. It is a generation of friends with benefits. We are not even planning to marry or anything, but we have this agreement that I can be sleeping with you without strings attached. It's wickedness, it's evil. And this is happening in this 21st century. Previously, that could never be had. You were termed as a loose woman if you even slept with a man after even some time of relationship. But today, you meet today in a club.
In the house tomorrow.
You just excuse yourself. And this thing has actually this thing is actually has even penetrated in churches. For example, you find if, for example, it's a youth leader or someone in church, a very respected person, just look and see, you see a visitor, maybe it's a man or a girl, and just to get the contact, and maybe the next weekend you're not in church. You can just type and say, no, I'm not around, I travel to Shago, and unfortunately maybe you're in the house with that person. So how comes this even this level of immorality and wickedness that have even penetrated to our churches?
Sad. It's very sad, because the church is supposed to uphold moral uprightness. But unfortunately, the clergy. I am a pastor. I'm taking responsibility. I don't want to say they, because I am in that category. I may not be doing it, but because it is the clergy that is allowing this. One thing, the moral uprightness is supposed to be the basic, the unique difference between the church and the world. You know, there must be that difference, even not just in relationships, but even the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we walk.
Yes.
But you see, the clergy has compromised, and that's why even relationships in church are not working. You know, you'd expect that Christians, they have the best relationships because they are in church. But in this generation, the church has failed, and we need just to do something about it.
Okay, and now just to add on to that, Dr. we have seen that the comments are still coming in, and we have one here from our Twitter handle, getting you live and clear. Now, in today's world, there are many more things to deal with that didn't exist generation or so ago. Look at the communication benefits like cell phones, internet, texting, etc. They pose an extra challenge for a relationship. If only the relationship seems fine when you are cuddling and the rest of the time you are arguing or ignoring each other. And that is a sign of toxic relationship. I think life is too short for a toxic relationship, and that is why we sometimes keep changing our our dates. And that is Daniel, who is watching us from Thome Estate. Dr.
Daniel, thank you for that honesty. You know, it's the 21st century relationship.
Yes.
We just bring it out as it is.
Blatantly.
Black and white.
Yes.
Morals are down in the 21st century. And I just want to say to Daniel, changing them will not change them.
Wow.
Because you leave this one, you go and find the other one, technology is still there, everything is there. Personally, what I would urge is, before anyone gets into a relationship, they build themselves first. What do you want? I said the first gift God gave to man was singleness.
Yes.
Be whole on your own as a single person. You don't need the other person to complete you. That is why we have these issues, because you are looking for somebody to make you complete because you are whole, you are incomplete.
Yes.
But God created a whole being. So be whole in yourself, accept yourself, build yourself, make yourself the best. And the person, then have this idea, make up your mind the kind of relationship you want to get into. It's not a try and error thing, and that's the problem. There's no seriousness in relationships in this time. I know we say that technology has been a big challenge. But again, what is it that I'm allowing in my relationship? Who is it that I'm allowing to influence me? Because the icons have issues of bad relationships, and they end up going into getting nuts. Most of them, do we want to get there? No. It's a decision I make for myself.
And maybe on my SMS line, I have Eugene watching from Kitengela. Good morning, Informant. Now, the fact is, with all the freedom we have in the 21st century, we don't need love, addiction, and suffering. People are just meeting, taking from each other what they need on physical level, and they are happy to go and continue with their life, with their gadgets and everyday stuff they have to do. But all said and done, we need more mentors like Reverend Mary in our society.
Thank you, Eugene, for that. Because, yes, you know, I don't blame the young men. I don't blame the young women. I don't blame the people that are making these decisions. I blame the older generation. You see, the generation before them is the one that spoils them, the Kababa generation. You want a phone and you're in primary school, you want everything you want, you get. And the mentors, we don't have mentors, we don't have people to stand and say. And even some of those whose relationships have failed. You know, those can be very good mentors. Because I can come and give a story and say, I know if you do this, it will fail. They are not proud of their failure, but they can use it as a platform to help another. Who are the mentors? And thank you, Eugene. We need mentors. We need men and women, not just men of God, but men in the society that can be depended on.
Wow. It's interesting.
Yes. And so by mentors, Daktari, you mean that the mentors get to our level and talk as a couple.
Yes.
And help them understand where the problem is.
Yes.
And sort the problem. Not just saying, nimechokeshwa na hawa tu. You know, sometimes the mentors, sometimes they get tired. And when you keep, maybe in a relationship, and you keep calling someone, we're not getting along with this. And it gets to a point where they say, I think both of you are grown-ups. Yes. Everyone should go their direction. So should the mentors also understand with the generation and try to carry them with that weight of being the 21st century generation?
Yes. Who is a mentor? And when does a mentor come in?
Yes.
Because most of the time in the relationship, we want to go to seek mentors when we are already in trouble.
Yes.
That's when it's not working, or mama, does this usually work like this? We need to identify with the generation, even at an early stage, when they are youth. Because relationships will come later in life. But if this guy does not know who he stands for, he doesn't know who he is. He's a kababa boy. This guy does not know how to cook. He's a mama's boy. I said that previously. He doesn't know how to cook. He doesn't know how to take care of his. And it's the mistakes of the parents, because they found housemaid in their home. So you marry this girl, or you bring this girl home, and you expect her to cook for you because you are the husband, and she really doesn't know how to cook. It's because the mentoring did not start early. So can we go back to mentoring early? Yes. The roots, where did we go wrong? How can we help this generation? If this generation is this far, how can we help? For me, I'm very passionate about the youth, and I'm very deep in their lives. Those ones of me, I want to know whom you are married, who you are dating, where is she from? You know, those kind of things.
Yes.
And I want to meet this girl. And there are some people I'll meet and I'll tell them, hey, this girl, atakupeleka mbio.
Marathon.
Because you can tell from the beginning. So we need to be valuable as mentors even during their young age, not when they are getting married.
Yes.
Then when they are marrying also, there is somebody called best couple.
Yes.
For me, I will know how serious you are in life, in this marriage that you are starting, by the person you choose as your best couple.
Wow.
Because if you are really focused on life, you will choose a serious person as the best couple. But when you choose one of your best friends and you say, oh, I want this one to be, what will this one tell you? What value will they add in your life? Yeah. So mentoring should start quite early in this relationship.
That thing Dr. Mary have just reminded me of another friend of mine who actually chose, there's a friend who was on a divorce actually, and he happened to just have another woman, and he just said, nataka usimamia harusi yangu. So we were just asking them, sasa huyu mwenye yake imefail, and it was kind of, okay, you can't tell, you see, if a person chooses for himself, you can't just go and you just mind your own business. But now that has just me reminded of that story, which but Dr. Mary Kamangekwa at that time, she could have actually told them, right, this is not the right person. Because if you are concerned about your tomorrow, that is the future of your marriage, you'll be very sensitive on the kind of the best couple you choose.
Yeah, and sometimes I find that even in marriages, the people who choose the best couple, they even choose one person who's not even married to the other. And so how does it work? Because they have to mentor you.
Exactly.
And they have to make you understand the things to do with marriage. But they're not even married, and they are not even a couple. They're just a different person and a different
you've
person.
just picked a handsome man and a beautiful lady to just make your wedding
yes, look
beautiful.
fabulous.
That's the problem, that you get somebody just for the day.
Yes.
But you see, in relationship, mentors are for a lifetime. I remember, okay, I'm that kind of girl. I did my marriage. I was not, my best couple were not a couple, but I had my reasons. It's because my husband's best man is my best friend. And I felt, this one, she will always agree with me throughout. Yet the husband is somebody I honor and everything.
Yes.
So I needed somebody who can talk to me, who can talk over my life.
Yes.
So that's the decision I made then. Looking back, I would have done things differently. I would have gotten probably a couple that is together, though the three of us are best friends even up to today. So it doesn't mean that because she is there we have issues. No. But that mentorship in relationship is very important. But the 21st century relationship, who wants to be told anything? Google has everything.
You're Googling even the qualities of a lady.
Of a lady, yes. And
10 qualities, and these girls don't exist.
Exactly. You can't find them here. Not unless you make you
go to Google and manufacture one.
Yes. And that reminds me of a preaching that I was listening to one day, and the pastor was saying that if you want a perfect person, the only thing you can do is just go and unachonga ule wabao, because that is the only perfect person you will find. But as we are living, you have to look for someone who has imperfections, and you try, and the differences, they make you similar, and you work through them. Yes. And I remember our question of the day is, what do you think about modern relationships? What do you think about modern relationships at SITG TV on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram? And
you can as well join in this conversation by writing your SMS on a platform number as displayed at the bottom of your screen. Sorry, that is 0706 083 050. And you can as well make a live call on the same line as you help us get your feedback on on your take on the 21st century relationships.
Okay, and I want to dive right into this, because I can see Gabriel Mwaniki from Syokimau saying relationships these days are hard because we have too much perceived choice and people are less likely to commit. Even when they do, it usually does not last long. Call me a pessimist, but I don't think technology is ruining it for us. You have thousands of people available at your fingertips. How can you settle on one person? And as soon as things go a little wrong, you're back on looking for your next option. I just think it makes it all easy to give up and decreases the quality of relationships that we do form.
That's what I said. Technology is one and the main, because we have available options.
Yes.
On Twitter, we have available options.
Yes.
And we have desperate people on the other side. The other thing I want to talk about is the independence, the perceived.
Yes, perceived, yes.
Independence. Because the previous generation was not this free. My mom didn't have to beat me if he found me on the street with that boy. The neighbor of the other village was allowed to discipline me.
Slap sense in your head.
No slap. Take a whole branch of a tree.
Yes.
And make sure it is sweeping me properly. And when he beats me that way, I cannot even go home and tell my mom. Because telling my mom would mean that I'm beaten again for misbehaving in front of that person.
Sure.
But the 21st century, just even correct. Point at somebody's child. Tell them you are making a mistake. You will know there is freedom in Kenya. And that is what has spoiled everything for. Because even when you want to help, your hands are tied.
Yes.
The freedom is more of a bondage than freedom.
Wow. The freedom is more of a bondage than a freedom.
Yes. And this means that even as a society, we are not in harmony anymore.
Exactly.
Because I cannot correct my neighbor's child. Maybe you will correct them and they'll ask you, do you know the pain that I felt? And you, okay, I understand. I am sorry. You were trying to correct, yes, but now it's no longer available because of the freedom.
Or you're just told mind your own business or get your own.
Yes.
Just, okay, let me just keep quiet.
And that's why we have so many weird events, people killing each other. They are called crimes of passion. I don't think they are crimes of passion because it's usually a trend. You've seen in this relationship, this guy comes drunk, he beats up this girl. You know, previously there was no wife beating. It is in this 21st century. Because you beat a wife, you are a weak man. So who wants to be a weak man? Yeah, men were supposed to fight men.
Sure.
Where is the men conference now?
he refused to tell us what they learned in the conference.
Someone just said that when you beat your wife, you have to mark your territory like once per week or once per month.
Oh my! Oh my!
You're marking the territory, but you come and slap her. Tomorrow when you knock the door, you cannot knock twice. So that's what actually he was trying to say in the men's conference. Maybe I can have a look from on our SMS line. We have Michelle from Kasarani. Thank you very much, Michelle. Good morning, Morning Informant. I think in this 21st century, we are taking relationships as something very private to be shared with just one person, and something that should not be talked about or shared with, or even ask advice from a friend on what to do about it or that within that relationship. It is personal, private, and between the two people involved.
You know why it is personal? Is because people are not relational anymore. How can your marriage be personal? And we are looking at you. You came from a home. You were born by a father and a mother. You work in a community. You all these things. So when somebody says we want to sort ourselves, it means you don't trust anyone else other than that person. And that makes it a very good ground for that person to mess you completely. Because they know you have no support. Everything needs support. Relationships need support. A support system that will help you, get there. For example, if it's a girl who is dating a boy, you need the family to know this is the man I'm dating. So that when we see a mistake, I don't want to talk about my family, it's a crazy one. In my family, you date all of us. You date the father, the mother, and the children. So when we behave badly like this, we put you on the table. So it cannot be personal because you belong to a family, you belong to a community. And that's where the 21st century has failed. When you want to do everything for yourself, just be the one doing everything. And it's just between me and him. So how many others are there that you don't know? And you cannot know because you have no one to tell you.
So that means it's a good thing. You don't keep it that private. It's not something that is very sensitive or what exactly.
I talked of a mentor. You need to have mentors. If you need to be a church person, if you're a church person or you go to the mosque, you need to have that religious relationship also because it helps the boy-girl relationship. The spiritual aspect of it is very, very important. So, historia personal, mazi.
Haiwezi.
It's a lot of unnecessary
During our days, it was a community thing. It's each actually, and the Bible is also for that. That when a man got of age, is the parents who decided. Abraham sent somebody to go and get a wife for his son. They didn't know each other. But the Bible tells us that Isaac loved Rebecca.
Yes.
After they have met, he's already married, they are staying together.
Yes.
So this story of love, akunanga love before marriage. You have to know this person, live with them, then you start loving them. Hii ingine ni liking or having the same goals or something like that. And so why is it that it is hard? Because jamaa anataka dem mwenye ya anataka. Akalie, unajua main conference, dem mwenye aongei. Dem mwenye ana future mahali, yani hata nijibu na unaambiwa anakujibingi hivyo. And you know the girls today, they are learned, they are going to the same schools, they are doing the same jobs. So community, I think it was best when it was a community thing. During our days, you'd be told, iyo boma usiowe. Tuowangi iyo boma. These days, there is no one to tell you that because we are making it private. Then when they say that, you'd find out there's something query, and there's a query about that family.
Wow.
It's very interesting.
Yes, and now just to look at one of the comments here. We have Jadiel Karaoke who's saying, good morning, Morning Informant. I am watching you from Githurai 44. Dr. Mary, I like the way you're stating the facts about 21st century relationship. In the olden days, the parents used to go to the family of the lady so that they can know the type of character that the family holds. And now in the 21st century, relationships are harder because conversations have become texting, arguments have become phone calls, and feelings have become WhatsApp status updates.
I feel you. Daniel, you are my guy. Now we are talking. You know, so there is no relationship at all. I'm relating to my gadget. And then you are relating to yours. So whatever feelings you want to express, there is something to pass through. Why don't we just talk? Tell me this is how I'm feeling. Why don't we spend time together and see if you can stand my side, you can, and that's why, because they never spend time with each other, then it's so easy to leave each other.
Sure.
They have no connection.
And that reminds me of a discussion that Ngonjo, we were having sometime last week about WhatsApp groups, where a couple forms a WhatsApp group. So if they are dating and they are angry at each other, they go and complain in the group, and that is where they air their grievances, instead of sitting down one-on-one and discussing about it. So I don't know, maybe it's the issue, it's the 21st century.
That's what we are saying.
They refer to it as a safe zone. Like when I'm angry with you as my partner, I just go to the WhatsApp group and say, hey, I don't like the way you talk to me today, I don't like blah, blah, blah. You write a whole paragraph, and then he comes in and reads, he gives you a reply on that social media handle. That is on WhatsApp in that case.
So when do you get to deal with the emotions? When do you get, and that's why it's not with the person, you're not relating with the person. Actually, it's sad to realize that some people, you even get married and stay with somebody and you completely don't know them. Because you have known this social media person. You have known this slay queen. Yeah? You just love the way she dressed and you want to floss it. It's crazy. Some prominent person the other day was left by the girl, and 3 months later she's marrying somebody else.
Yes.
You are like, what is happening to this generation?
She had a backup at that time.
Backup plan. Yes, they call it a backup plan.
And that's what's happening in the 21st century. Previously, there was no backup plan. It is this man and this man and this girl and this girl, and I'm working on it. And when we go to the Bible, backup plan is sin. Yeah.
Wow.
So you have that one person, you don't have a plan B.
Backup plan.
It's him or never.
It's him or him. It's just him or him. You know, like if you get in that relationship, it is you or you. I'm not looking anywhere else.
Sure.
Yes.
It's determination.
Yes.
And discipline.
And you know, previously, it was embarrassment to divorce. It was embarrassment to, it was a shame to even leave your husband's home to go home. The community you'd be a failure, a good for nothing young lady, the man also. So you'd work for that relationship so that you don't get embarrassed. Today, who cares?
Nobody cares.
No
The
one
21st century relation, nobody cares.
And no one will, they say no one will judge you.
You find my daughter coming home and telling, Mom, I'm done with that marriage. And I'm the one telling the girl, yeah, you have to my mom, she would tell you, go back. What will people say? And then it's not even about the people. It's about the culture. It's about the community. It's about the divine reason for that relationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And now, Dr. Mary, I get to understand that from what you said, that love comes after marriage. And that is why arranged marriages long time used to work. And even now, there are people who they didn't know each other, and it was an arranged marriage, and it's still working up to date. And that is maybe 30, 40 years down the line. So this means that love comes after marriage. There's no crazy love before.
It is love on first sight. Big lie.
It is being disillusionment.
Actually, it also reminds me of another thing that has been trending on social media about a 22-year-old man that AKU university student. Actually, he went to the market and just found a girl, and he just fell in love with the girl. And like a few weeks ago, after a week, I think 1 week, the girl came. So unfortunately, after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's a very long story, but to cut the story short, it was actually like a plan, because this girl was 17 years of age, and actually the girl had lied to the man that he's staying with the sister, something of the sort. So it's a good thing as well, we be sensitive as well, because you cannot find Dr. Mary, you cannot even understand how you can meet person for the first time and just fall in love. I just like the shape, I like the way she's speaking, pap, she's the one the Lord has sent to me.
21st century relationship. They have no foundation,
no goal.
They have no goals. They have no future plan. It's just I meet, we go, and it's wrong, because it's what we are getting from the Western culture. I still need to go back to where are we learning these things from, how and why are they so real today? Because the 21st century relationship is there are these people who found these Mexican soap operas going on, where somebody is having an affair with a cousin of an uncle, and so the morals have not, and the society has not insisted on morals. Discipline is not even an issue here, because the society is not insisting on it. So it is sad for this generation. Let me say that. It's really, really sad. And unless somebody arises and does something, unless the men conference tells them the 21st century man, you have to stop being a kababa boy. Why would a young man, a 24-year-old, marry a woman as old as I am? Because I want to be comfortable. There's no ethic. Ethics are not there. You know. And somebody just says, my life, my wife, my choice. But surely, in the next 2-3 years, I'll be a grandma. You have not even had your firstborn.
Yes.
So, seriously, the 21st century?
It's actually
microwave.
It's actually beyond
the past generation.
It's beyond understanding, because you can't even. And I'm just trying to think, if this is the 21st century, maybe 10 years, 20 years from now, where do you see the future of relationships, Dr. Mary, maybe 10 years or 20 years from now?
There's hope. And the hope is you and me, Maina, Tish, it's us. I don't like what I'm seeing. So what am I going to do about it? I am a parent. I don't like what is happening around me. I don't like what is happening around my children's friends. I don't like what is happening around my neighbors' kids. What is it that I'm going to do? I choose myself. I purpose to be a mentor myself. I say I have a young men's meeting, and I'm buying chips and soda.
Wow.
You just need to tell the young people you are buying something, chips and soda. And I'm bringing a celeb. And this celeb, I make sure I meet him before. And I make sure I tell him what it's not who you are, it's who I am that you're going to tell them.
Wow.
Because these guys can come and tell them, oh, Melanie Sawa, you can divorce, you can. So I come, I put you in me, I put me in you. So that when you speak to those young men, it's me who is speaking to them. And try to transform, just let the young people, the young couples know that the future is in their hands. Destiny of this nation is in the hands of the young couple. The destiny of your family is in the hands of those young couples. So we need to start investing in these young couples. We need to start investing in this, just making sure they are doing the right thing, they are walking right, they are respecting one another, they are doing what is right. That's how the future will be saved. But otherwise, we will start seeing 3-year-old getting married and divorced.
Yes, and now just to sample some of the comments that are coming in on our Facebook page this morning. Jemima Juma, good morning. I'm watching from Kayole. Thank you, Jemima. And we have Gift Mwamilaza Kipawa watching from Mombasa. We have Chege Steve Malindi represented. Thank you so much. And now, Daktari, we have one here and says, for today, that is from Cornerstone, for today, people enter in the relationship without its knowledge. They don't listen to advice, nor can they be told. Kituku kimejaa kiburi na makanga kaniingia kwa lango hawasemeki. Mitandao pia inachangia upotevu wa mahusiano. During the old times, people were advised and could listen and follow. My advice is, let things that can wait, wait. Learn those that cannot wait, then...
Kituku kimeingia.
Yes. Kimejaa kiburi.
Kiburi.
Yes.
Ndio nimesema, I don't entirely blame the people, the young couples. I blame the generation before.
Yes.
Because we are generational people. We hand over mantles. It's like a relay. I'm growing old now. And what do I want for my grandchildren?
Yes.
Because what I want for my grandchildren, I need to give it to my sons.
Yes.
I need to give it to my daughters. So what are the parents doing? Can we have somewhere where we sit down together? Because the problem is, we have parents who are saying, it is okay. Mambo iko sawa.
Iko sawa.
I'm amazed sometimes to sit down with people my age and they're telling me, aliachana na uliacha bibi mgani? You know, it's their son they are talking about. They're asking me, uliacha bibi mgani? So, huyo alienda, akaoa mwingine, and I'm allowing it in my own home. Then it means it's not the young man who has a problem.
Yes.
It's me who has a problem.
Sure.
So we need to go back to the roots. Where is it coming from? Hii lack of respect, hii disobedience, inatoka wapi? Hao watu hausikii ndio wale walikuwa wanachoma mashule.
Kiburi.
Tunaenda tunasema mtoto wangu asichapwe. Sasa, how do we expect to have a nation, a generation that is better than us if we didn't give them the best?
Wow.
So I urge this generation, the 21st generation, I still have confidence in them. Mkiangukanga, mkiamuka, just know that the future depends on you.
You're a true advocate of change in the 21st century relationship. Because you have hope in them.
Yes.
Even when things are going haywire with technology, na kiburi, you still have hope.
Things, you najua, mtu lazima tu, mzee, lazima arudi kuchunga ng'ombe at some point. So it doesn't matter where you are going. You know, you have a child. Probably you are a baby papa, you are a baby mama. And that child will grow. And that child will need to understand why I am not with my birth parents. I have a friend's child who one day came to me and said, she comes from a single parent, but she knows the father, and she knows the father has another family. So the baby came to me and said, Rev, when is mommy going to buy me a daddy who stays with us?
Okay.
So tell me, if this girl has guts to ask me, how many times does she ask the mother? So change itakuja juu ya pressure ile atapewa. So we either do it asiyefunzwa na mwanae, mamake ufunzwa na ulimwengu. We either teach them or they teach us.
And maybe Daktari, if we can just have a small look on the comments coming through our platform numbers. We have Salome Joyfree, thank you very much. She's saying present at Kayole City. We have John Mena saying good morning, watching from Karen. Today's topic is wow. Thank you very much. We also have Jane. Jane is from Limuru. Jane, she's saying that I'm tuned in. I just like how Reverend is putting it clear. Wow. Thank you very much, Jane, for that comment. Also have Jose Wazima. Jose, thank you very much for keeping it. Today, we as men, we are learning as well. We no longer need to beat our wives so that we can prove that we are men. A man fights with a fellow man, not a woman. Exactly, my brother. That's what we have learned today. Here with Reverend Mary. And maybe, Reverend, if I can just ask a very simple question now, maybe from a look of things. Now, there's different stages in a relationship, exactly as we've tackled. And now, how sure can a person be, or at what stage can a person know that a relationship is ripe? Or there may be future expectations in a relationship?
Ripe as in you want to get married now.
Sure.
Is this the right girl to marry? Is this the right man to marry? First, you must have goals even before you meet them. Before you start even thinking of getting married, first of all, put yourself on the board. I am this kind of a man. For one, a man has to be a pillar.
Yes.
You know, pillars hold the house together. Pillars shape the house. Pillars hold the roof that brings covering. So every man, before you start saying I'm looking for Mrs. Right or kitenge ipatikane, are you that pillar?
Sure.
Yes. Can you shape a destiny? Can you hold together a home? Can you hold together? Can you cover somebody? Unfortunately, the 21st century men are not pillars. They are themselves broken. You see somebody is hurt by a girl. He commits suicide. That's brokenness. That means that the person is very weak. You need to understand that you are you before anybody else comes in. So how do you know? You put yourself there first and say, this is who I am. What do I want? First, a good wife is